Thank you. Thank you.
And I think it's already time. So if you allow us, ma'am, we shall start with the program.
Yes, definitely. Please.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a great pleasure for me that to welcome you all once again in this core series of the NEP, which we have started on the 22nd June, and we have covered the Academic Bank of Credit. Then on 23rd June, we have covered the multi-entry and exit system, and then global citizenship in higher education, and now today on internationalization of higher education. Again, I would like to welcome all the participants here and our very learned speaker, Professor Ipshita Bansal ji. I also extend my heartiest thanks to our Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Professor Sudesh Chhikara, for gracing this occasion as a patron and extending the greetings to all of you on this occasion and to create the awareness on the implementation of this NEP 2020, which is an effort put by the central government as well as the state governments individually. And in this effort and in this series, we shall continue to organize such kind of workshops on the National Education Policy 2020 throughout the year as well. We have also circulated the program schedule in which we have placed the NEP workshops for 1 month, for 1 week as well as 1 day. And today we will be discussing on the internationalization of the higher education. And this workshop, which we have organized for the 4 days on the 4 topics, were organized by the Bhagat Singh Mahila Vishwavidyalaya Human Resource Development Center in coordination with the NEP cell of the university. And today we have the NEP coordinator amongst us, who is looking after the implementation of the NEP in our university. Madam Professor Ipshita Bansal is the professor in the Department of Management Studies at Bhagat Singh Mahila Vishwavidyalaya Sonipat since 2012. She has headed various administrative responsibilities in our university, like Dean, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, and the chairperson of the Department of Management Studies. She has also discharged the duties of the Dean Academic Affair for 1 term and Registrar and the Proctor of the university. She is looking after as the Dean Student Welfare and Dean Faculty of Commerce and Management these days. And prior joining to this institution, she has worked with the Banasthali Vidyapeeth, Rajasthan for 14 years, and she was one of the founder batch of the MBA of Faculty of Management Studies. And she was one of those persons, those who have started with the department there in the Banasthali Vidyapeeth, and thereby designing and contributing in the way that she has designed and implemented the unique management education paradigm of the department, which was focused on integrating Indian knowledge systems in that. In the year 2019, she has attended the Leadership Development Program, that is a LEAP program, and she visited the Oxford University, UK, from the Ministry of Education, Government of India. She has also received many grants, like the grant of Association of the Commonwealth Universities, which she attended in UCEA 2019 conference, and that was on the higher education workforce, exploring the global perspective in London, and study tours to the Imperial College of London and the University of Surrey. She has also received, she was the PI, that is a principal investigator of one of the very prestigious project of the Ministry of Education, Government of India, that is EPG Pathshala, which was a grant of 1.12 crores, and she has developed 16 courses in that program for the PG course, that is Human Resource Management. And she has also written many chapters in the EPG Pathshala, and about 100 academicians and the professors, they have worked along with her in this project. She has also served in the industry and having a corporate experience, and then engaged in the management teaching, training, and the research. She has published 49 papers in the national and the international journals of repute, and she has 2 books and has presented numerous papers and chaired large number of the national and the international conferences in India as well as abroad, like England, Netherlands, France. And she is also the paper reviewer for the many international journals and also a very prestigious journal of Emerald Publication UK. And she has also completed 2 major UGC research projects. 20 students have been awarded the degree of PhD under her guidance, and most engaging research interests are indigenous management thought and practice and women at work. She has organized many training programs and has given various invited lectures in the reputed universities and the Human Resource Development Center across the country, with the prominent themes on integrating indigenous knowledge systems in the university curricula, human resource management, higher education, gender sensitization, and many issues on women empowerment. She has been associated with the UGC for the capacity building for the women managers in the higher education for 10 years as a master trainer for training for the trainers in workshop and module author, and the master trainer for the module on human resource management in the institutions of higher education for management skills and enhancement workshop. She has trained many administrators and women academicians throughout the country in the various universities and colleges on the diverse culture, governance, system, size over the length and breadth of the India. She has also worked as a resource person for the Gyan Jyoti project for women entrepreneurship and coordinated by the AIM Act faculty of the Computer Science Banasthali University, which was a sponsored project of the Department of Information Technology and Communication, Government of Rajasthan. She has organized and facilitated the grassroots action management program for the management students in the Banasthali University, in which they got attached with the various NGOs and worked at the grassroots level, and thus she has also contributed with the society-university interlinkages, and she firmly believes in the power of women and the indigenous systems which the India has. And she is one of the very leading promoter, and she has also contributed the indigenous knowledge curriculum, which was designed by the various wings of the NAS and other leading institutions. So we welcome Professor Ipshita Bansal to this workshop on NEP, and you will find her to be a very learned, very dynamic, and a very versatile lady whenever we talk about the academia or administration or even as a researcher. So it's a privilege for all of us to have Professor Ipshita Bansal amongst us. Ma'am, we welcome you on the behalf of the HRDC and the university, and on the behalf of all the participants, we extend the heartiest thanks to you for joining us and to discuss on a very important theme of NEP, which is going to prevail in our country in the next 10 years, and we all will be preparing for it. Thank you, ma'am, and over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Shafali, for such elaborate introduction about me. I'm still in the process of learning, and sometimes I feel that many of my colleagues who are perhaps younger than me, who are more dynamic, like yourself also, you have achieved so much, and I feel that in so many years of service, I should have done more, but still I am trying. So I think today we'll start with the topic of internationalization of education, higher education, in reference to NEP 2020. So these days you must have been sort of part of many workshops. All the participants must have been part of many workshops. And in that, as Dr. Shafali told, that 3 topics have already been done: academic credit bank, then multiple entry exit, and framework of global citizenship in higher education. So this also topic is very important, and this topic incorporates itself in itself all the above 3 topics which you have already had a session on. That is, when we talk of internationalization of higher education, then we talk, then the concept of academic bank of credits is also included in that. Then the topic of multiple entry and exit is also included in that. And of course, the topic of being able to create global citizens in our higher education institutions is also a very important part of it. And as you all know, that this particular National Education Policy 2020 is a policy which has brought about a fundamental change in the way in which we want to teach our students, impart education to our students, the way we want to conduct research, the topics on which we want to conduct research, then the type of infrastructure which we want to develop, the type of institutional leadership that we want to develop and give to these higher education institutions, and also to put in place effective governance and regulatory systems. So this particular national education policy, I think, is turning the concept of education on its head, 360-degree turning back is taking place, whereby the education previously which was given to create not perhaps innovators but implementers, more of implementers of what the orders and directions were given, and people had to implement, because that type of education was developed under the spirit of what the Britishers had developed, the type of education to create clerks who did not have a mind of their own, who could not do original thinking, innovative thinking. They just had to study in English, and you see, English was compulsory, and those times whosoever was not getting educated in English was not considered to be literate even, as per British perspectives and the rules, and so they were not eligible for any type of government services. So now this baggage we were carrying on from the last 70 years also, as we have seen that the entire society now is divided into two parts, English speaking people and Hindi, or you see mother tongue speaking English language. So a class divide has taken place, and the people who are speaking in English or have taken education in English medium are considered to be better educated. So like this overemphasis on English, there have been many problem areas in higher education, because of which the need was felt that a new education policy should be drafted and it should be launched. And as you all know, must have known by now, that before launching this new education policy, National Education Policy 2020, lot of discussions, lot of inputs have been taken from various stakeholders of the education system, the teachers, the students, the administrators, the senior people, the retired people engaged with education, and even going as far down the line as the village panchayats. And the draft was put up on the UGC website. It was widely circulated, and then inputs were asked for, and it took almost 2 years to bring this National Education Policy 2020 in its final form as we see it today. So a lot of thought has gone into it, and besides other very important aspects which are a part of it, internationalization of education in Indian scenario is also a very important point, very important focus area of this National Education Policy. And you see, and why this is required, because as we can see that as per the data of Ministry of External Affairs, in 2020, almost 5 lakh students were had registered to study outside, but with respect to the number of students which are coming inside, that was not even 50,000 and during the same time. So not 5 lakh, 10 lakh students were registered to go outside, and only less than 50,000 students were wanting to come in India and study in Indian universities. So just imagine how much of foreign exchange we are losing by not being able to invite international students, and how much of the Indian money we are sending out to make the international universities earn from our own students. So internationalization has to be done, but it has to be done not only in the way that our students go out to study, but also it has to be done in the way so that outside students, foreign students come in large numbers to study with us. When I had gone to attend LEAP program and when I was in Oxford, University of Oxford, UK, then there were 2-3 presentations, professors who had come from the European countries and also from Oxford University and other British universities. They were saying that they were saying that they were presentations but were with respect to the point that how to, because population in European countries is dwindling, is going down. You see, all the people do not want to go for higher education there. So their focus was how to create strategies and how to create programs so that we are able to attract more and more Asian students. And they were also talking about the new competition that has emerged from the Australian universities, from the universities like Dubai. Dubai has become an international hub of various institutions, and also the universities which are emerging in Eastern Europe. Like, for example, you must have seen, we never knew before that so many medical students are going to Ukraine to study medicine. When this war of Ukraine and Russia took place, then we came to know that so many students are going to even Ukraine to study medicine. We had thought that they are only going to study medicine in European countries, America, Australia, England, and also Russia. So you see, there was also a lot of concern that many of the students who are aspiring to come to to these Western European advanced countries are now aspiring to go to some other Eastern European countries because the fee structure is quite comfortable, quite student friendly there. So you see, they are much ahead of us in the point of thinking that how to attract and engage the students from Asia. And we, as I told you, that 10 lakh students every year aspire to go out to study. So it should not be just one way. It should be two ways. So this is what is internationalization of higher education in India is all about, that we should in large numbers attract more and more students to our own country also, so that we can earn foreign exchange, so that we can make India a aspirational destination for getting higher education, so that we can again make India a wish guru, and we can bring India to that level whereby when we used to have the ancient universities like Nalanda, Takshashila, Vikramshila, when the students from all over the world used to come and study, and the libraries were huge, full of knowledge, and you see data and knowledge, wisdom. So again, so that we can gain that stature whereby people from across the world aspire to study in India, that is the focus of this aspect of internationalization of higher education in Indian context with respect to NEP 2020. So when we want to do that, then how can we do it? We have to actually bring our standards of the higher education to global standards. As far as present picture is concerned, there is hardly any one or two universities which are featuring in top 100 universities, top 200 universities of the world. And there are some more in top 500 universities of the world, but I think there is no university in top 100 universities of the world. So that is the problem, you see. We are such a big country having a massive population. Every sixth person in the world is Indian. We are 1/6 of the total population of the world. You see, we have such large number of universities in our country, but the quality standards of our education are not up to the mark. So that is why all the other aspects of national education policy which are there, they are seeking to bring Indian education to global standards, and armed with that, you see, armor of having a global standard education, we want to truly focus on internationalization of higher education, so that we can what has been called in NEP 2020 as internationalization at home. So what happens is, under this, is that there are various objectives of this particular thing. First objective is to make India as an attractive study destination for foreign students. This, which I have discussed. For that, we have to bring the Indian education system to global standards, and then again we have to create many other facilities and infrastructure, culture in the universities. We have to become appreciative of the diversity, so that people coming from outside are not considered to be others, but they are welcomed. So India has to be made an attractive destination for foreign students. Then we have to foster international competencies in our faculty and students. That is very important. Many times it is seen that the faculty members are also not, faculty members, the whole education system is such that is the parameters against which the education system judges the applicants for recruitment to faculty positions. Those parameters, I think, are faulty, because if people are getting placed following those parameters, but then if we compare the standards of our faculty with the faculties of the best of the universities of the world, our teachers are not coming at par. Leave alone a handful of universities, we can say we can just count on the fingers of our hand, but mostly it is not happening. So we have to foster international competencies in our faculty and students. This is also one of the objectives of internationalization of education. Then third, we have to develop a global mindset of our learners and shape them as global citizens with deep-rooted pride in being Indian. So first and foremost, that is what we have to do, is we have to prepare our students that it is not only you are getting this education so that you can just get a job in your neighborhood, in the same city, in the same state, and so that you have to cater to the local people. No, you have to create this global mindset. Even if you remain in India, even if you are in India, you have to create global standards so that we are able to attract buyers from outside, so that we are able to produce international standard goods, so that we are able to give international standard service. So global mindset has to be created in our students, and at the same time they have to be appreciative of what is best outside in the world, and also they have to be proud of what is there in India. You see, they have to take pride in being Indian. They have to take pride in Indian heritage. They have to take pride in the fact that India through centuries has been the teacher of the world, and somehow since last couple of centuries we have lost that position. Only a couple of centuries, 1 or 200, but we have to get back to that particular position. So Indian students have to develop this mindset of being proud of being Indian. Then the next objective is to promote active linkage between Indian and foreign higher education institutions. As you must have seen, if you are coming from universities or colleges, then there is a lot of pressure, lot of letters must be coming from your from the government, be it of Haryana government or others, that universities have to work for signing MOUs, Memorandum of Understanding, with foreign institutions, so that there can be exchange of faculty, of students, there can be collaborative research. Those people come and understand what India is, what Indian education institutions have to offer. Our faculty also can go and sort of learn from outside what is the best thing that they are doing. So you see, When I did this LEAP program is also such type of program which has been launched by Ministry of Human Resource Development, whereby they are inviting applications from professors who have been a professor since minimum, I think, 8 to 10 years, and have had at least 50 publications of repute, and they are not less than 55 years, and also and there are many more parameters. Then there is a committee which sort of looks, and then they are sent for training among one of the top 100 universities of the world, not among top 200, but the best 100 universities of the world have been identified. And in those universities, these professors, a batch of these professors is sent to, at one time 20-25 professors go there. So I went to, in the same series, I went to University of Oxford to learn if they are, and at that particular point in time when I went 2019, I'm not sure what is the ranking status now. University of Oxford was #1 university as per many rankings, including Times ranking. So #1 university of the world. So just imagine if I went and I sort of interacted with not only the Oxford professors but professors from across the world. There were professors whom they had invited from across the world, Australia, America, then other European countries. So there was a lot of interaction, informal lunches and dinners together, and you see, and how do they, if they are #1, then what do they do to become #1? So this is how you see such programs are being initiated so that we are able to generate global mindset. So we are able to sort of bring those practices back, good practices only, and sort of introduced in our education system. So this is one objective, and then we can have linkages with other foreign universities also. Then there is another objective is to improve global ranking in internationalization indicators. As I told you, there is hardly 1 or 2 universities which are featuring in top 500, top 300 universities of the world. So we have to work on that so that the international standards हैं, उनके indicators को हम लोग पूरा कर सकें. So अगर हमको internationalization करना है, then what we have to do for that? What are the strategies we have to make? What are the strategic programs and initiatives that we have to undertake? So the first point with respect to this is that we have to start with internationalization at home, जिसकी मैंने आपको पहले भी बात बताई है. That is, we have to integrate the dimensions of international learning environment within our own higher education institutions. So what we have to do for that, we have to collaborate, we have to engage in collaborative communication between Indian and international faculty. This has to come into the system of our university, that there has to be an international affairs office, and that international affairs office will be collaborating with many universities of the world, and so that there can be exchange of ideas, collaborative research, exchange of students, faculties, and all that. Then with respect to various type of curricula in sciences, social sciences, humanities, arts, management, okay, commerce, in that, international dimension also have to be added in these curricula. And this is again becomes very challenging, because at one point in a national education policy also says that you have to have a local dimension also into the curricula, whereby the students are able to understand and learn how they can contribute to the development of their immediate community, immediate geographical region, by having a particular education in a particular subject. And on the other hand, national education policy foresees that a curricula of all the subjects should also have international dimensions added to it, so that we can develop a global mindset also. You see, so this is a great challenge. So that is why I said that this national education policy is basically a you can say, a very fundamental changes it is bringing about. Are you all comfortable with my language? मैं ऐसे ही जारी रखूं? English is okay with everybody?
Yes.
I was doing it.
Yeah, the
I was doing it in English. Yes.
the participants from basically from the south, they have requested that it should be in English, so that they are
Okay.
also able to understand it.
Okay. So that's what I felt. So that is why I continued in English only, so that everybody can understand. Okay. Then we also have to sort of integrate international pedagogy. I would like to again talk about pedagogy. That is, what is the pedagogy that we have been following since last 70 years in terms of teaching? Majorly, it has been lecture mode. Since last 5-10 years, we have been receiving directions from UGC that no, it has to be discussions, it has to be case studies, and so on and so forth. You have to give chance to the students also to speak and interact and give a discourse. But majorly still it is a lecture mode, and when we talk of lecture mode, then we just give lectures, students listen, and then there are some few test sessional assignments, but majorly the students are sort of examined on the basis of the term end examination or semester end examination. So they have to learn by heart, mug up the entire syllabus the night before, and next day in the paper they have to just take it out on the answer sheet. And since the hard disk of their brain had already become full by mugging up the entire book, so they had to empty that before they are able to take up the next exam. So generally, if you ask the students after the paper is over, whether they remember anything of that subject, they will not be able to answer you very well. So because we are not teaching them then and again that whenever a concept is taught, we are not sending them to the field, we are not taking them out of their classrooms that, okay, now show us that how it will be implemented, how you will put these concepts in practice outside into the community. Let me tell you again, share you a very important, very interesting fact with you. When I had gone during my second trip again in 2019, which under grant from Association of Commonwealth Universities, fully paid grant for attending a conference, and also study tours to Imperial College and University of Surrey. One very important aspect which I came across was that in Imperial College there was an area which was a working lab, and that lab was placed in such a way in the university that its outer section opened on the road outside, and this was the lab whereby community people, the people from the outside were encouraged, and there were quite advertisements also with respect to that anybody could walk into that lab and tell their problem. And it could be about living conditions, it could be about some infrastructure, it could be about a machine. If it had been slightly modified, then it would have been more sort of suitable for me to use. Any of the problems related to their daily lives, and the students and the faculty members will work on that problem so that they can give the solution to the community with respect to their problems. And they were sharing with me that many of such projects have been very successful, and the problems which they had received, which the community had shared with them, they had provided the solution to the community in terms of a machine or a system or an infrastructure which they created. So this is how you see pedagogy has to be there. That is, whatever you learn, it has to be there, that how you can apply to it. So these are the things, these are the pedagogies which make the universities world class. Imperial College of London is one of the best institutions of the world, and it is really, really difficult to get admission there. and because it's the top minds, the brilliant minds join that institution, there are a lot of research-based stress also, and so they have a very full-fledged center for mental health and well-being also. And the people of that cell are continuously engaged with their students. And you see, when postdoctoral students go there, about 50% of the students are advised at the end of the postdoctorate. Postdoctoral students go after doing their PhD, that you will be able to do better with your life if you don't go for research. And if they are advised that you please don't go for research further, then they are helped to find out where else they can be better placed. You see, so these are the pedagogies, these are the ways people are made to learn, and there is so much of engagement with their students. One very important thing, which again it's a way of pedagogy only, international pedagogy. In Oxford University, I was told, we were shared with that undergraduate students who join Oxford at the undergraduate level, it is compulsory for them to have 3 meals on the campus only. So they come early in the morning, and right from breakfast till late evening snack, they have it on the campus only, and there is a mess hall which is in the part of the academic block only, and the teachers as well as the students sit together up and have meals together. And over those meals, there are lots of discussions, informal discussions. From that, new and innovative ideas emerge. And also, the tutorial system is 1-to-1, that is, one student to one professor. This is the ratio of tutorials there. And every week, one student will get undivided attention of one very good senior professor of their department to interact for 1 hour. So they are giving a lot of assignments, then they come back and there is a lot of discussion at a 1-to-1 basis. It's not like that I'm in a senior position, I'm a teacher. Not like that. At 1-to-1 basis, as the two intellectuals are discussing. So just imagine the pedagogy, the confidence, the amount of wisdom a student is able to get. So these are the international systems, and again, I think in India it will be very difficult to have this 1-to-1 tutorial system because of the population we have and the lack of resources we have. But at least we can have a sort of aspiration that someday perhaps we can reach that level. And then I also came to know that these professors remain in touch with their students for next 20 years. It's a formal thing there. Formally, it's systematized there in Oxford University that they have to keep in touch with their students for next 20 years so that they can see where they are going, what they are doing, what are their problems area. By interacting with their alumni only, they are able to sort of design their courses in a much better manner. They can remain updated with respect to the professions and the industry. And one of the professors very light-heartedly said that government of United Kingdom's British government many times have tried to take over Oxford University from us, but they have not been successful because the people who are sitting in the government are also from the alumni of Oxford University or the Cambridge University or the Imperial College of London. These are 1 or 2, 3 best sort of institutions. So these are the universities which are producing the presidents, the vice presidents, the prime ministers, you see the ambassadors, top businessmen, tycoons. These are the universities which are providing that. So you see, and why it is so? Because of the pedagogy which they are following in developing their students. And so that is why we have to sort of appreciate what are the global pedagogies. We have to entirely, I think, by and by give up this type of pedagogy which we have been following, which was indeed formulated by Britishers to create that class divide of Babu and servant. master and servant. We have to give that up, you see. Uh, one of the focus areas, objective of internationalization at home is to sort of understand the international standards of curricula and the pedagogy. So this is it. And then there are other objectives also. Other features of internationalization at home is that there has to be quality residential accommodation has to be there. Definitely, if we want to encourage our students, then we want to give them the best education, and also we should offer them not only something which they can study well in their own country, but something which they cannot study in their own country. Like, for example, Sanskrit, fine arts, textile designing, Indian music, instrumental as well as vocal music, then sculpture, mural painting, which are there on Ajanta and Ellora and all that. There are many universities like Shanti Niketan, Vanasthali Vidyapith. Still, they have sort of preserved that art, and still there are in Vanasthali, I know in every summer for 2 months there is a camp of mural paintings, whereby the mural experts from all over the country as well as the world visit that place, and students register themselves in that, and then mural paintings on the walls. Mural paintings are what? Inside the wall painting is done. Painting colors are mixed with the sort of the material of the wall, you see, so that you cannot wipe it off. It will not be wiped off. It becomes a part of the wall. So that is mural painting. So these are the things we should develop in our universities and attract the foreign students, because these are the things which they will not be finding there in their universities. So we have to start with them, and then also with the more general studies, we have to upgrade our education systems and curricula with the international standards, so that we are able to invite them. So this is it. And then we have to also, there are many foreign students when they come, like in Vanasthali Vidyapith, we had this concept of inviting students from outside, and we had an international affairs office. And so what was generally the instructions from the countries from where they were coming, that we want these students to stay with the families, one student with one family, because we are not sending them only to study the books or listen to lectures. We are sending them to understand the culture of particular country, of a particular state, of a particular community. So whenever a batch of students used to be coming, a circular used to go around asking that, are there some people who want to host these students in their homes? Okay, so if many of the teachers could not host them, many of them invited them for lunch or dinner at their homes, and treated them to their own sort of, you see, traditional cuisine, and talk to them about India, what it is like being an Indian, and all those things. So we have to develop that also. We have to make them connected to communities, local community also. We have to make them feel welcome. That culture has to be created. Office of International Affairs has to be created, which will coordinate right from the time when they leave their campus and join our campus until the time they leave our campus to go back to their own country. So everything that is related to that stay, that has to be coordinated. There has to be international students affairs counselors if they have any problem. There are many things which we take for granted. For them, it will be something new. They will be totally puzzled. They will not know where to go, whom to ask, what to do. Okay, because the systems there are totally different. So this is how internationalization at home has to be conducted. And also we have to make sure that we offer local courses on local languages also. Because when students come, they also want to learn a new language. That is also there. In many of the universities, it happens, like my sister is living in America, and when her son when he was still in school, they started from the level of school only. He went to stay in South Africa, in a country in South Africa, whereby Spanish was spoken. I'm forgetting the name of that country, and he was made to stay with a family there. And when you stay with a family, you automatically learn the language. So he had the classes of that language also, and he was made to study with the family also. So he came back after learning a lot of culture of that place, a new language and all that. So this is how we have to do internationalization at home. You see, then there have to be faculty mentors and all that. So another way to start internationalization at home is See India or Study India programs. Like in Vanasthali, we used to have 1 to 2 months of Feel India program. In that, foreign students used to come for 1 to 2 months of duration, and they would just stay there, and they will learn Rajasthani dance, they would learn pottery, they would learn mandana, that is the Rangoli, Rajasthani Rangoli, that is called mandana. And in 2 months, whatever they could do, they could learn tie and dye in the textile department. And then we had 6 months Study India program, whereby they came for 1 semester. And they were given the freedom that through any of the faculty, if they were coming for, say, management faculty, then it was not mandatory for them to choose every course from management faculty. Like as it has become now one of the guidelines of NEP 2020 also, that 40% of the courses students can study from different faculties or allied faculties. So they could choose 60% of the courses from management faculty, and rest 40% of the courses from across, from music to mathematics to dance to textile designing, anything. And then they would do 1 semester, and we'll give them the transcript, and then they will go back. In the same manner, our students also went there, although not our students were going out less, but their students were, outside students were coming more. So when they went, then when they used to come back with the transcripts means the mark sheet of that 1 semester or 2 semesters, then we had an equivalence committee. I was the convener of that committee, and in that equivalence committee, we used to see that of this program which she is studying here in our university, what are the courses she has studied from the foreign university. So she does not have to repeat those courses now. And in place of those courses, that student can take up some other courses. So equivalence used to be done, that these courses are equal to what courses of our own program. And so a customized sort of, you see, a bundle was given to her of courses that you can choose from these, so that you can able to earn the required number of credits. So these are the things that we have to do if we want to encourage internationalization in real sense. You see, we have to work at many levels. Then another strategy for internationalization of higher education is credit recognition under twinning arrangement. It is also the same thing which I have generally discussed here, that 2 countries sign MOU with each other, and then there is a credit transfer scheme. That is when you whatever credits our students earn there, they can be transferred to our own university, and whatever credits the foreign students earn from our university, they will be transferred to their own university program in their own mark sheet. So credit transfer and credit recognition of each other's universities or universities with, or institutions of 2 countries has to be there, and this all is done after signing memorandum of understanding between the 2 universities. Then it may also happen that colleges can also enter into that. According to National Education Policy 2020, colleges also can encourage their students to go out and study abroad, and also invite students from abroad into their own college. But they will have to take no objection certificate from their parent affiliating university for that. Many times we have seen that colleges are very good. They are affiliated to the university, but there are more activities in a college than the university. This has also happened. And this is again one of a very problematic area of present education system of ours, whereby sometimes the colleges have to get affiliated to the universities which are perhaps not worthy of those colleges. And colleges, if left alone and given autonomy, they might become even better. So in national education policy now, this particular arrangement also has been made that colleges can become autonomous if they prove their worth according to certain criteria, and they can break free of the shackles, of the chains of that university to which they are affiliated to. So this is again a very important motivator for the colleges to do well. You see, so that one fine day we may become independent. You know, we will become free and we can really fly and reach better heights. So this is also there. And then so this is how innovatively curricula will have to be designed. Flexibly, there has to be a lot of innovation and a lot of flexibility in the curricula that has to be designed if we want to attract international students from abroad. And let me tell you, all these things have been happening in private and deemed universities already. Good ones, good universities. Already, because we know that private industry is always 10 steps ahead than the government organization. Because they have to earn profit and they have to attract students really for their own worth. And if they are not able to attract students, they will not be able to sustain because they are not getting 100% funding from anywhere. So they are always ahead of the government institutions, let me assure you, because I have worked in many formats. I have worked in private university, deemed to be universities. I have worked in corporate sector. And now this is my, I think, 7th or 8th organization I'm working now in a government university. So I can make a comparative analysis amongst all. So one thing that they have is speed. They immediately try to sort of encash whatever the environment has to offer to them. So if they feel that foreign students are wanting to come to India, then they will immediately create systems whereby the students are able to come and they charge fees from them and earn money and give a good sort of exposure, good education and good support, good culture, good welcome here in their own institution. Then if our students go out, the degree will be given by our own institution, and the credits which they have earned outside will be included in the mark sheet of our own institution. If foreign students are coming in, then the degree will be given to the foreign university, and students will only go back with the mark sheet of the semester or the certificate of the month they have studied here, and indicating what all they have studied here. Okay, and the degree will be given by the foreign university, and it will be shown in their transcript. So this is it. And another important, very important thing is that visa program and everything for all these things, the support has to be given by the institution, and they have to be in touch with the foreign students commission and visa authorities and all that. Then the third strategy to integrate internationalization in higher education is basically a global citizenship approach, which I think you all have studied in your last lecture, that how to create global citizenship framework in the institution, whereby Professor Tankeshwar, I was also listening to him and I gave the vote of thanks to him that day. I was listening very intently. And in that, we have to make our students learn what the world is expecting of us. We have to develop a global mindset in our students. We also have to inculcate this feeling of pride in our students, that we can make a difference, not in our own lives, not only in the lives of our parents, our family, our country, but we can make a difference globally by our education. And we have to create that type of curriculum and the pedagogy so that students are able to feel that confidently. Then students have to be made to understand that how the world works economically, politically, socially, culturally, technologically, ecologically. Many times we see that in India, we see that there is so much of regionalism, that if the students from other states even are coming to study in the university of a particular state, then those students are bullied, they are not accepted, and they are always considered to be outsiders. So leave alone how we'll be able to sort of welcome the students from outside. And I feel we will be able to welcome students if they are white students, I feel. Because we feel that whatever is white is good and superior to us. Unfortunately, that colonial mindset is still there in us. So if the students are coming from America, Australia, Europe, then I think we will welcome them. Everybody will run and would want to take a selfie with them. The students would want to enroll in the classes in which they are enrolled. But if we are wanting to bring students from Southeast Asian countries, from Vietnam, Bangladesh, Myanmar, or many other countries, Mauritius, who look like us or somewhat different, or African countries, then I think the students will not be welcoming them so much. And perhaps they might be subjected to bullying also. So we have to make our students appreciate diversity. Whosoever comes to us, it is stated in our Rigveda also, let noble thoughts come to us from all directions. Whosoever comes to us, if we can give them a lot of wisdom, then rest assured, everyone has something to teach to us. So this is the mindset we have to inculcate in our students. And we also have to inculcate in our students that we can also give a lot to the world. So this is what we have to do. Then we also have to inculcate in our students the soft skills or softer side of our, you see, the personality, like for example, cleanliness, being courteous, having democratic spirit, a spirit of service, respect for public property, you see, equality, justice. And also we have to make them learn critical thinking, communication, adaptability, all those things. If we are not able to, like, I don't know whether I can go on. I think I still have, this is my problem. When I start speaking, I cannot stop before 1 hour, but I think I really want to share so much with the participants that we have to really want to give our students life skills. There was an article by Chetan Bhagat. He said that Indian parents really don't love their boys. It was the title of the article, and I was really surprised that what is he talking about? Indian parents are always loving boys and they are always wanting boys. But then it was a satire, and he said that Indian parents always teach their girls to cook, to clean, to look after others, to be caring. You see, even if the mother goes, the other household will go on, and to look after the younger siblings, to show respect to the elders. But parents don't teach any of these things to their boys. So just imagine how you see they are such at the receiving end. When they grow up, they will not be able to adapt. They will not be able to survive in conditions whereby they are not getting home cooked food placed before them in a plate by somebody else. If they are not able to have somebody who will wash their clothes, if they are not able to have somebody who will clean their home. So this is, I think, girls have better adaptability to go out anywhere and adjust and accept also differences than boys. And I think this we have to teach our boys also, because unless somebody gives them a glass of water, they cannot quench their thirst also. वो मतलब अपनी प्यास तक नहीं बुझा सकते हैं, और अगर खाना बनाने वाला नहीं है तो वो अपनी भूख नहीं मिटा सकते हैं. तो फिर इस तरह की अडेप्टेबिलिटी भी हमको सिखानी है, इसलिए लाइफ स्किल्स जो है हमको सिखाने हैं. So I was reading somewhere in that it was written that there should be a subject called life in our curriculum. You have all the subjects, science, math, this, that. There should be a subject called life. And whatever we do in life, that has to be sort of practically taught to our students. So this was it. And then lastly, ITC-based internationalization. I think this is very important. And now digital platforms like MOOCs, SWAYAM. MOOCs is massive open online courses which are available through SWAYAM platform in Indian context. and which are also available in all the universities. During the lockdown, I tell you, my daughters, they have done so many of courses from so many of the universities, university like Pennsylvania State University, or you can say Princeton University. So all these universities, Harvard University, there are so many courses available, and online courses we can take. So ITC based, so that is why in National Education Policy it is written that if the universities are able to achieve minimum ranking, they are through all these parameters, then they will not have to take permission from the government to launch online on distance learning courses. If they are of a particular standard, they can automatically become entitled to open up online courses for the students across the world if they want. So this is how also internationalization at home can be done. Just imagine these universities are learning, the foreign universities are earning so much through students across the globe, but we are not doing that. We are not able to do that. So you see, through ICT-based internationalization is also going to be a big force to reckon with. This is going to be a big focus of the government, and government in every form will be encouraging the institution to start that. So we have to start leveraging the potential of technology for integrating digital learning platforms in our education systems and in our pedagogy. So this is it. I think academic and research collaboration I already have discussed. This is also one way of internationalization. I've already discussed that when I was talking to you about MOUs. And one very important thing is alumni connect. That is very, very important. Like I gave you the example of Oxford University, they keep in touch with their students. They track their students for next 20 years, where they are. Okay. And if that happens, then what happens? We can sort of rope in our alumni for our present students, for their skills, for their placement, for any trouble which is happening anywhere in the world. You can just call up your alumni in that corner of the world and say that one of our students is stuck up there, is having that problem, please do something. And that person will be more than happy to oblige. So there are so many ways it can happen. Like I've studied at Aligarh Muslim University also. So we have branches all over the world, and if somebody just gets attached to that local branch of that alumni network in that country or in that city of that country, if some help is required, people are offered help. And this happens with all the major institutions. IITs have a very big network of alumni, and they keep in touch and they leverage that connection with their alumni for the betterment of their present students. So alumni connect has to be there. Then there has to be, and through alumni we build our brands, through our students we build our brands. So brand building activity has to be done. So we, as the foreign universities come into the fair, when the educational fairs take place in the capital or big cities, the same way our universities should also represent India and their own self in the outside fairs, and create systems whereby students are able to sort of come to our university. Then Office of International Affairs, I already said that now it is a mandatory part of the National Education Policy 2020, and a lot of notifications have come from the government that in every university there has to be Office of International Affairs. In our university, Bhagat Phool Singh, we have also established, again, I'm heading that office. Two people are there with me, and we have started the work of finding out universities who will be wanting to sort of get in touch with them. So this is it. I think benefits, you all can understand what is side by side. I have told you that it can be very beneficial. It will bring in foreign exchange. It will bring up the brand of our organization. It will help our current students. We can generate resources from our alumni. We can expand, and we can earn like anything if this happens. And we will become a wish guru again. I think that is the most important thing. If we are able to make our mark in the world as an educational, hub, educational aspirational country for getting higher education. So thank you all. Thank you so much. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Shafali ji, over to you now.
Thank you, ma'am, for a very insightful and a very elaborative, very nicely told and dictated that with the numerous example from your own experiences of the life of the various international universities, how they are making, and what is the difference actually between the Indian universities and the university abroad, which are best known in the world. So that makes them the best because they are offering their quality and their pedagogical structure.
You're muted. Shafali ji, you're muted. Please unmute.
Okay. That is a problem. Thank you so very much, ma'am. Indeed, for a very elaborative and a very insightful session on internationalization of the higher education. And I think you have given all the aspects, like what are the requirements of the international higher education, why should we go for the internationalization of the education, and what all we need to do, how innovative we have to be if we are really looking for the internationalization, and how the colleges are now out of those chains which they always wanted to break, and how they can perform, and how the universities should perform to attract the global students, as well as because, and to also to save the Indian students.
Again muted. Yes. Again muted. Please unmute. बीच में हो जाता है
With the system itself, it's muting me itself. I'm getting muted myself automatically.
Automatically.
Yeah, that was a very practical session, ma'am. And
thank you.
I would like to invite two participants, those who have mentioned and raised their hands. I think Prahlad Kumarji, Dr. Prahlad Kumarji is there, who has mentioned that there is some question which he would like to ask, but he has posted somewhere else than the chat box. So I would like to invite him for the question.
जी प्रहलाद जी, प्लीज
Unmute,
बताइए.
Yes, sir. Unmute कर लीजिए सर. नहीं, अभी आपने unmute नहीं किया सर.
जी हाँ.
Thank you. Really, your lecture was very interesting and informative. You have given a broad outline of how you have gone to Oxford and UK and different universities under the special scheme of the government. That's okay. But in when you were delivering the lecture, you mentioned about because that is an important ingredient of the new economic policy, new education policy, that we have to give the emphasis on localization, also the local events, the local surroundings, etc. And we should incorporate those elements in our policy wherever it is possible. So the question is that if we are, it is becoming difficult to integrate this local aspects with globalized structure of the education which you are, or internationalization of our education system. If the emphasis is on local, then how all the institutions where in our country we have more than 1,000 higher education institutions, and as you have correctly mentioned that in the world ranking of education institutions, within first 200 there are only 2-3 institutions, and these are the IITs also.
Yes, only.
On the products of the IITs, we are proud of that our IITs are the very good, and they are contributing too much to the various economies in the world. But still, we would have to think over the ranking criteria of how the world ranking is done, and how we in India do the ranking of our institutions. Then the next question is that how we have to integrate this local aspect with internationalization. That is one aspect. and how all the 1000 more than 1000 universities and number of colleges are so many, so how all the institutions can attract the international students, it is a question. And the second one is
Yes.
of resources also. Second one is also the resources. How the institutions would bring so much resources for the students as well as for the faculty members, for upliftment of the faculty members. That is the question.
Yes. Yes, I think you have asked three questions. Quickly, I will like to sort of talk about them as per my understanding. First, you said that how we can integrate both local as well as global. I think integration of local and global will be that concepts which are there, which we are teaching. We have to teach our students, like for example, in management, we teach our students through case studies. So till very recently, about a decade or so back, all the case studies which were students were being taught in the institutions were generally the foreign case studies, because the IIM started on in the shadow of Harvard Business School. Whatever methods, whatever way they were teaching management, in the same line the IIMs also started, and initially the case studies which they were teaching their students were also taken from the Harvard, and many of the books that were written till very recently, all the books in management were written by the foreign authors, all the marketing, organizational behavior and everything. The same is the case with commerce also, and I'm sure the same is the case with all the other subjects also, even so in the social studies, humanities. In social studies, all the theories which we are teaching of various subjects, they are all given by the foreign thinkers only. So everything is being taught from the Western perspective to us. But in management, some 20 years back, 25 years back, not even I think 25 years back, this thought started that we have to produce our own case studies. And so the IIMs also started with that, and there a time came for 1 decade. I think case writing workshops were so common in good universities, that how to write a case and how to produce an Indian case so that we can teach our students which is Indian. So I think the concepts are the same. If we are teaching leadership concepts we will be teaching. But we have to study what is Indian leadership. How do leaders behave in India, or what type of leaders under what type of leadership Indians work best. So that is why, so that Indianness also can emerge. In the same way, in social studies or in economics or in sciences subjects, whatever concepts are being taught to the students, they should be able to think that how this particular which concept I have learned, I can utilize to make the life of my community better. You see, we do not give the time to our students to go so far and think that, because there is so much of syllabus, there is so much of mugging up which has to be done. There is no time for reflection. We don't send our students to the field that do just go around, see, and just try to find out how this theory will be applied outside. So this is what is meant by localization, that you have to solve local problems with whatever you study. And also, like for example, theories which you have to generate, I tell my research students, why is it that all the theories that you are studying in management are generally being, we are studying which is being given by Americans or Europeans? Because Indians are not producing theories. They are not proposing theories. Why they are not doing so? Because they are not doing the original research. They are not doing research in their own context. They are just doing literature reviews. They are just quoting the foreign theories, and on the basis of that only they structure and design their own research synopsis, and then conduct a survey and produce the results. So so that is why we don't see Indian names in the books. Since last 70 years, it has been 70 years since we got independence. But we do not find Indian names of thinkers, hardly any. We can count on fingers. So that is localization. And globalization is, you understand about, because you see now the world is a global village. Something is happening outside the country will have an impact on us. So our students should be able to understand that also. And also we have to learn from the best of the pedagogies, which, like I quoted you so many pedagogies, that how the good universities are teaching their students, so that they are growing up to become innovative thinkers, so that they have become leaders in their field, so that they have become great innovators. So those innovative pedagogies we have to learn from the. So there has to be a lot of integration, and I think that was the one question. Then another, you said that resources, definitely resources are important, and that is why the government is saying to the government institutions also, that is, learn to generate money also. Don't be just dependent whatever the government is giving you, that you can rest on that. Because if that happens, then institutions go in loss. There is an example of Air India. For last 20-25 years, the government is struggling to make it take off, but it is not taking off, and ultimately it has to be sold. The same, and that is why many times it happens, students want to join private universities more than the government universities, who want to have good education really. So that is why the government is saying that even the government universities have to learn to start standing on their own feet. And I also would like to share with you that all the top 100 universities of the world, no university is a government university. From that only, this is an indication. When when the government comes in and you get something which is for free, you get it anyhow, even if you perform well or not, then there is a problem. In the long run, problem emerges. So that was second question. Third question, I have forgotten the second one which you had asked. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for asking. And
there was one more participant, Madam Bandi ji was there, I think. I think she has left, or maybe she is not there anymore. I couldn't see her. If anybody has any question. Okay. Though it was very elaborative, and I think a lot of ideas must have generated among all the people, those who have joined this workshop, how they can go for the internationalization of their higher education system at their own institution. You have given numerous things to us to think upon, to ponder upon, and to work upon as well. So that was a very practical session indeed, ma'am. So here with this, we come to an end of this today's workshop. And we have already shared a feedback link with all of you for your attendance, as well as the feedback and your credentials for your e-certificate. Kindly fill that feedback link, which is mentioned in the chat box. This session was also YouTube live, and you may watch it on the YouTube channel of the UGC-HRDC BPSMV. This program, which was worked in collaboration with Professor Ipshita Bansal, today comes to an end here. It was her vision that these 4 topics should be chosen, and thus we invited the 4 people here. The earlier 3, they have also discussed in detail the ABC, the multi-entry system, and the global citizenship, and today also on the internationalization. So we are really thankful to all the participants for joining us here in this program, in all the 4 workshops on the NEP. And we extend our heartfelt gratitude to all the resource person, Professor Alok Chakravalji, the Vice-Chancellor of the Guru Ghasidas Central University, who joined us on the very first day to talk on the ABC, that is the Academic Bank of Credit. On the second day, we had Professor Rajneesh Kumar Shukla ji, the Vice-Chancellor of the Central University of Hindi Antarrashtriya Vishwavidyalaya, Wardha. We are very thankful to him as well to discuss on the multi-entry and exit system. And on the third workshop, Professor Tankeshwar Kumar ji, the Vice-Chancellor of Central University of Haryana, joined us to give an elaborative session on the framing the educational framework for the global citizens in higher education. And today we have Professor Ipshita Bansal ji to discuss on internationalization of the higher education. So we extend our heartiest thanks on the behalf of the HRDC, on the behalf of the university, NEP cell of the university, and on the behalf of all the participants, and on my own personal behalf, thanks to all the resource person. And last but not the least, our special thanks goes to the Vice-Chancellor of this university, who has guided us to perform these kind of activities from the various cells in this university, and to the team of the HRDC, who has been working rigorously to manage all these programs, and as well as the staff of the NEP cell who were working constantly with the HRDC. And thank you all. And we wish you all the very best for the successful implementation of this national education policy in your own institution. And I hope these workshops would have given you a lot of ideas, some new innovations to work in the areas, in the different areas of the higher education system, subjects, your own disciplines to work upon, and to think and then to implement in a rightful way, in a very beautiful way, to make a path for the higher education system in which we are going to put a lot of reformations, and that reforms will be more rigorous and will be more enthusiastic on the part of the teachers. And this is what we believe, and we'll keep on continuing this series of creating and making you aware about the various other aspects of the NEP time to time. Thank you. Namaskar to all.
Namaskar, and thank you to Dr. Shafali for conducting such a beautiful program and coordinating it and taking it to its culmination. Thank you so much, Dr. Shafali also, and all the resource persons. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Professor Ipshita, on behalf